Hey everybody, Kris Amerikos here and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to tell you 35 different ways that you can answer when someone asks, how are you? Now in Russian, people don't usually ask how are you as a greeting. How are you is a real question. They really want you to answer. And there's a lot of different ways that you can answer. Now you're probably thinking, Kris, that's great, but I don't even know how to ask, how are you? So how am I gonna answer it before I can even ask it, right? Well, if that's the case, I've got another video for you where you can learn how to ask, how are you, in lots of different ways. But in this video, we're talking about different ways that you can answer those questions and all different forms of those questions and look cool doing it. Typically, when someone answers the question, how are you in Russian, there are three possible types of answers: positive, negative, and neutral. In English, you're almost expected to give a positive answer because it facilitates the movement of the conversation from greetings and introductions to the real topics of discussion. But in Russian, you're more likely to hear a range of positive, negative, and neutral responses. Remember also that how are you in English is very often a greeting, but in Russian, it's not. There are so many different ways to answer this question, and it's hard to make a list. So I've just included some of the most popular answers, but people are very creative and come up with new responses all the time. Try to find a few replies to this question that suit you best. Positive answers. Хорошо, fine. You could also say «У меня всё хорошо» or just «всё хорошо». These phrases use the word «всё», which means all or everything. So «всё хорошо» means it's all good. If you want to say that things are going very well in your life, you could say «очень хорошо». The word «очень» means very. Отлично, great. I love this one. It expresses even more positivity than хорошо. However, as is true with most positive expressions, you can say «отлично» sarcastically to mean that something is terrible. For example, туалетная бумага закончилась. Отлично. We're out of toilet paper. Great. Super, super. Just like in English, super means great or fantastic. But I think you should use it sparingly. Don't let super be a crutch that you lean on because you don't know other adjectives. Hilariously, super duper translates to super pooper, which is sure to make you laugh if you speak English. Замечательно, excellent. This is a great word to add to your vocabulary if you always say хорошо, отлично, or супер. If you answer замечательно to the question как ты, it means something very good happened or you're in a great mood for some reason. Лучше всех, never better. If you translate this phrase literally, it means better than everyone. It's mostly used to tell someone that you're in a great mood. Лучше не бывает. Couldn't be better. Another way to translate this phrase would be, it doesn't get better than this. Как огурчик, in great shape. Literally, this means like a cucumber. Just think of the English phrase as cool as a cucumber, and it'll be easy to remember. You could translate it as feeling great. Всё пучком. Literally, пучок means a bundle or a bunch. Usually this word is used in Russian when speaking about herbs. For example, пучок петрушки, a bunch of parsley. Пучок лука, a bunch of onions. You tightly tie them together so that everything's tight. Всё пучком. But this phrase usually has nothing to do with herbs and generally means everything's all right. Another example is Я припарковал машину в неположенном месте. Надеюсь, всё будет пучком, когда я вернусь. I parked the car in a place where I shouldn't have. I hope everything will be okay when I get back. Как по маслу. Smooth. Масло means butter. Like on butter, which means it's going smooth. Всё шоколадно. Everything's sweet. This phrase really means everything is chocolatey. You can say that it's all covered in chocolate. Even though it sounds messy, it still has a positive meaning, and it means that everything's sweet. And who doesn't like sweets? Zashibись. Friggin' awesome. Zashibit means to hit really hard, or even to hit to death. But surprisingly, it's a good thing. For example, you can say, Тусовка была просто зашибись. The party was friggin' awesome. You might also hear people use a different version of this phrase, which is a curse word that you shouldn't go around saying all the time. It's заебись, which means fucking awesome. Офигенно. Awesome. You might also hear охрененно, which is a less polite version of this word. And if you feel like using a curse word instead, then you can say охуенно, which means fucking awesome. I've recorded a special video teaching you how to use this curse word and other curse words in Russian that you can check out by clicking the link under this video. Next is negative answers. Плохо, bad. This is probably the most common answer if you're not doing so well. Fun fact, Russian people don't like to be fake. They're usually very direct about when they're not feeling well. There's no polite, I'm good, even if you're not feeling well. Of course, this varies from person to person, but generally speaking, it's true. Ужасно, terrible. This is worse than bad. Something major has to happen for a person to use this as an answer. Отвратительно, horrible. This one is even worse than terrible, even worse than ужасно. Literally, this one means disgusting. For example, я отвратительно себя чувствую. I feel horrible. Нет настроения. I'm in a bad mood. Literally, this phrase means I have no mood. It's a very common answer when your day isn't going so well, or maybe you feel irritated or you're just not in the mood to do something. Ничего не успеваю. I don't have time for anything. Успевать means to be able to do something in time or on time. And it can also mean just to have time. If a person is super busy, then they might say, I don't have time for anything. Я ничего не успеваю. Another translation of this phrase would be, so much to do, so little time. Как сажа, бела. You don't want to know. Probably the most important thing to know about this phrase is that you should only say it when someone asks как дела. In Russian, there are many sarcastic rhyming phrases that people use to very standard or typical questions. In most cases, they're uttered for the purpose of rhyming or joking around, and they might not actually have any meaning at all. For example, if you ask "Ты кто?" who are you? Someone might answer "Конь в пальто," a horse in an overcoat, because the words кто and пальто both stress the final o. In this case, the word бела rhymes with дела. Как дела? Как сажа бела. The word сажа means soot, and its black appearance makes it a metaphor for things that are bad or negative. Overall, this answer is considered negative, but it could also tell the person that you don't really want to answer the question. It's not a very common way to answer this question, but you still might hear it from time to time. Next, let's talk about neutral answers. There's a lot of them. Нормально, okay. You could also say the slang versions. Norm, нормуль, or нормас. It's easy to get this one confused and to translate it as normal, but it's really used like okay. I mean, in English, if someone asks, how are you doing? You wouldn't say normal. You would say okay. Ничего, nothing to complain about. Some people might answer with the full phrase ничего особенного, which means nothing special. It sounds a little strange to English speakers to answer the question how are you with nothing. Usually we answer nothing when someone asks, what's up? Or what's going on? But it's important to remember that answering ничего is like answering okay. Так себе. Дела так себе. Устал очень. I'm doing so-so. Really tired. This one is exactly like the English so-so. In fact, the word так means so. Неплохо. Not bad. It's not good, but it's better than bad. Это звучит очень даже неплохо. This doesn't sound bad at all. Пойдёт, it's going. Literally, it means will go, but probably the best way to compare this phrase to English is to translate it as that'll do it. So it means that it's not completely how you would want it to be, but it's good enough. For example, тебе эта куртка нравится больше? Do you like this coat more? Пойдёт. It'll do. Не жалуюсь. I'm not complaining. Как жизнь? How's life? Я не жалуюсь. I can't complain. You might also hear another variation of this phrase. Я ни на что не жалуюсь. I have no complaints whatsoever. Всё в порядке. Everything's all right. Порядок literally means order. So you can also translate this phrase as everything is in order. You can also hear it as a variation to the question, how are you? Instead of как дела, someone might ask, у тебя всё в порядке? Is everything all right? Usually someone will ask this if you don't look good or if something bad just happened. Как обычно, as usual. Another variation of this phrase that you might hear is как всегда, as always. Usually Russian people say this phrase when nothing's new. Бывало и лучше. It's been better. For example, бывало и лучше это точно. I've been better for sure. Всё по-прежнему. nothing's changed. For example, всё по-прежнему, не волнуйтесь. Everything's the same as before, don't worry. Or, у нас всё по-прежнему. Everything's still the same with us. Всё по-старому. Same old, same old. You might also translate this phrase as just like old times. Ничего нового. Nothing's new. For example, у нас ничего нового. We have nothing new to share. Nothing's new with us. Ничего особенного. Nothing special. You might also hear just the shortened phrase of this expression, да ничего. That means nothing. По-тихоньку. I'm getting by. Literally, тихо means quiet. But in this context, Russian people mean slow. You might even hear something like this. Дела идут потихоньку. Things are moving along slowly. And it means nothing's new. Относительно. It's relative. Sometimes when you ask how a person is doing, they ask you another question back. They might ask you, по сравнению с кем, which means compared to who. You should probably get used to people answering it's relative or it depends, even to simple questions. If I ask someone how they're doing and they say относительно, then I might say, да, всё относительно. Yeah, everything is relative. Next, let's look at some answers that come directly from English, and they're kind of funny. Beautifulna. Beautifully. If you hear someone say this, it's probably a joke. In fact, you probably won't hear anybody say this, but if you do, it means great. Ok. Okay. It doesn't get more obvious than this, but the pronunciation isn't nearly as obvious as the meaning. In English, we say okay, but sometimes in Russian, they just say ok. So to English speakers, it sounds like a type of tree, oak. Excellent! Thank you so much for watching that video. If you liked it, press like, and if you want to see more like it, then press subscribe. If you've got any questions, you can write them in the comments down below, or you can click on the link to book a call with me and ask your questions directly. I've also got some links under this video where you can download resources for learning the alphabet and other important topics within the Russian language. And I can't offer this forever, but right now I'm also having a live course where I teach Russian live face-to-face with you, and you can click on the link under this video to join that program too. Have a great day, everybody, and keep a smile on your face because всё будет хорошо.